So I decided to start doing zodiac readings for my collective, and today I am doing Leo for the month of March. So Leo, this is your reading for the month of March, and we're going to start with a theme. And the theme is seeing the through you. So let me show you this card. Get a nice good look. So this month, it's going to be really important to listen to your heart. Allow that, like there's a quiet voice of like the inner knowing that usually takes a backseat to the loud voices of like anxiousness or insecurity. And this month, it's going to be really important for you to tune into the wisdom of your heart, because it's leading you somewhere. There's a path. And if you're feeling a little bit like, especially if you're feeling a little bit disoriented and lost, and I'm sensing like a little bit of aimlessness. Again, it's a collective read, so some stuff is going to resonate, some won't, and maybe all or none. But this month, it's so important to listen to the smaller, like quieter voice of your inner knowing in your heart than worries and fears, because finding that place of stillness and being able to tune in, that's when the path is going to reveal itself to you. So there's a path opening up to you, and there is an offer of, when I say a love offer, I mean like something loving, something kind, anything from like friendship to a person to like even a creative pursuit. There's a path, and there's something for you on that path that's very specifically, like I'm hearing healing elixir. So that is the theme of this month. And so we're just going to ask Spirit to let us know, like, what do we want to be aware of that we want to just sort of avoid? What about the month of March for Leo do we want to be aware of in terms of what to avoid? So I'm actually called to take this one. Wow. And I'm called to take this one too. So I'll move everything over so you can kind of see what's going on. Alrighty. So you have the Tower in reverse on the bottom of the deck, which tells me one of the things that you're, like Spirit would have you avoid clinging too much to the way that things have always sort of like been working for you. There's what we think our wishes are, and let me see here. So Spirit would have you avoid the trap of feeling despondent and unhappy about a sense that there wasn't a wish fulfillment associated with something that you were sure was right. And Spirit wants to come in and say that, like, instead of dwelling on the unfairness, Spirit wants you to instead look at there's a gift coming in, and I'm seeing this Ace of Cups, which is like a gift of love from the divine, and I'm also actually like it's echoing this cup. So it's like there's a gift of the divine, a path that's new, that's opening, and Spirit wants you to sort of avoid kind of staying in the space of unfairness and feelings of like disappointment, that is like crippling disappointment over something that you were just so sure was right, and you would just like thought it through and you had a certainty about it, but not allowing yourself to overthink the ways in which things went wrong and so on and so forth, but rather to allow and make space for this divine gift of love that is coming in on the heels of this healing. So I always push the cards a little bit up and out of the way. And let's see, let's grab this deck. Okay. So in terms of what you want to avoid, let's now ask Spirit, like what to embrace. What's coming in March that is just so worthy of embracing for Leo? Some rest for sure. Oh, that's cool. I'm liking what you're gonna, oh, okay, we'll see where this goes. Yeah, I'm liking the way this is looking. So, let's see, let me just get a sense of this. What Spirit would have you embrace? Wow, there's a lot of cards that came out that I did not even expect. Like when I was pulling, they fell out. So there's a lot here in terms of what Spirit wants you to embrace. And I'm hoping that everything is in the frame. I'm sort of a novice. So the more I do this, the better I will get at showing everything. So at the bottom of the deck of what to embrace this month of March, leaving behind any kind of like, you know, like manipulative people. And, you know, the way that this is coming through, leaving behind giving a crap about what other people think about you. There is a sense in which, I don't know where I heard this, but somebody was saying that like people pleasing is a form of manipulation. I'm not assuming that you're a people pleaser, Leo, but what's coming through with this energy in terms of like embracing is to like embrace a stance of you don't have to like alter yourself or like dial it down. Like there's no need to be a people pleaser. You can like that, like letting that go, and you are letting that go, and trying to control the way people see you and hoping that people see you in a certain way versus another way, all of that stuff, like that stuff is just, just embrace letting it go. So that's going to be something that's really important, and that's coming through because you'll just be able to manifest so much easier when you're like in true alignment with your true self, and there isn't the static and interference of other people's opinions, like sort of like making you second guess your intuition. And again, that voice of the heart sometimes isn't as loud as criticism. So Spirit would have you like just really embrace letting go of being invested in the way people feel about you and what they think of you, and invest more in healing yourself and taking time to heal yourself, and really know, let's see, let me just take a second. I want to breathe because there's a lot coming through. You know, as you step away from worrying so much about what other people think of you, and I'm not assuming that all of you do, but there's a sense in which, you know, there's always someone that you're going to change the way you sort of are in the world in a certain way. And so in this March, you're going to want to embrace this time of kind of withdrawing a little bit and being in your own little cocoon and healing a lot of the wounds. A lot of stuff has come to the surface, and really looking at that stuff closely and centering yourself. There's a lot of like healing and grounding. And again, this card, it's like, you know, defending yourself from the opinions of others who, it's not that you need validation. That's not the message that's coming through. It's that Spirit would have you embrace a kind of freedom that allows for a true expression of yourself that doesn't have to go through 5 filters of how others are reacting, because that is going to lead to incredible insights, an amazing amount of creativity, and people coming in to work with you. There's a creative spark. So there is a lot of hurt that came up over the last few months. That was kind of a deep shakeup, and you're coming out of being in a space of just, you know, focusing on that disappointment and into the space of healing. And Spirit is commending you on that. Spirit is saying like embrace moving away from any kind of like, you know, feeling sorry for yourself. And sometimes feeling sorry for yourself is like no one else can, like I'm hearing, you know, there's a sense in which like, it's not such a negative thing to understand where you've been hurt and allow yourself the grief and care about that person that is you that has been hurt. But we can stay stuck in that. And so Spirit is really commending you and moving into more of a healing, tranquil space where you kind of pull in a little bit more and saying like, and really embrace that, because as you're embracing that, again, you're becoming stronger. You're knowing who you are. Like this to me also speaks of like listening to that inner voice, because that inner voice is telling you, is giving you a path and a direction that you haven't seen yet, that you aren't aware yet. But that path and direction is leading to working with others in a really great way. So as you step, like, you know, kind of withdraw and like really move away from the filters of how other people might, like, you know, the reactions of others having any kind of impact. Especially, you know, Spirit's pointing out, like, especially there's an energy of kind of warped authority. There may be somebody in your life, or it could be like a work situation where there's someone in particular whose opinion and they're the way that they judge you, and there's an energy of it's like a fatherly energy gone wrong, gone like toxic and materialistic. So Spirit really wants you to, again, defend yourself like from negative energies that are influencing your expression, your sense of yourself, and your sense of direction. And to the extent that you are doing that, and you've already started this process, you've already started moving away from this negative energy. To the extent that you are doing that, you are being given this like beautiful new like path. As you move into, like, Spirit wants you to be able to like let go of what you thought was going to be your ultimate happiness, and that sort of like brings us back to like where, you know, Spirit was saying, and when we were talking about what to avoid, like avoid, you know, being mired in the disappointment of something that you were sure was going to like be it, not being it. And so Spirit's like, it wants you to embrace letting it go, embrace like feeling that grief through, you know, letting it pass through you, letting it go, because as you let go, Spirit is bringing into your life a whole new path, and that path includes creativity. That path includes like different types of love. There's a friendship energy coming in. There is like an admirer energy coming in, and there's a soulmate equal energy coming in. And this is all working, and these are all energies that want to work with you and create with you. So, you know, so Spirit really wants you to embrace like all of that. And so let's move these cards up so that we can move into like what Spirit would want you to evaluate during this month of March. So let me just clear up the cards. So what would Spirit like you to evaluate during this month of March? What would Spirit like you to evaluate during this month of March? Oh, let's pick one more. Okay, so underneath we have Judgment in reverse in terms of evaluating things. And so there's a sense in which Spirit wants you to, from a place of stillness within, like look back at the decisions that were made in the past and just take a mental inventory of like, I want to say cause and effect, but it's not really that, you know, it's not really about behavior. What Spirit wants you to evaluate, Spirit wants you to really spend some time in like meditation, thinking, spend some time sort of puzzling out where there were injustices that haven't resolved, and sort of holding you back from starting over and going in new directions. And a sense of like, you know, the thing about Leos are so strong that Leos will often stay in a horrible situation or a horrible relationship because they're strong enough to tolerate the pain that is being dumped on them, or, you know, is being inflicted on them. They have such and so much in the way of a pain tolerance that they often stay places too long that aren't treating them right. And Spirit wants you to evaluate this, evaluate the way, like, really, you know, really take, like, from a detached sort of place where you're just like, you know, you're not mired in your emotions, you're not overwhelmed with your emotions, but you're just, you know, you take like one step back, like the way that you would give advice to a friend. And from like one step back, like, look at the ways in which you've stayed with people who haven't been fair to you and have treated you in like ways that weren't quite right, and stayed with people who didn't allow you to flourish in the way that your potential would have you flourish, didn't allow you to explore, no growth, no new directions. Like, and Spirit wants you to just think about like the way that you've been like strong enough to deal with this, but Spirit wants you to look at it real clear, with really clear eyes, and evaluate this pattern. And again, this is going to resonate for some and not for others, but in terms of what to evaluate in the month of March, Spirit wants you to evaluate this pattern. For others, this is just a matter of letting go of a really nasty energy in your life and being willing, you know, for others of you, this is about letting go of someone who is cold and, you know, sharp-tongued, and you don't want to, but it's for the best. So some of you, that is the evaluation that you want to take. Others, the evaluation is, you know, you want to be evaluating this month. During this month, you really want to be evaluating that power, that, my tongue gets tied when I'm channeling. During the month of March, Spirit really wants you to evaluate a pattern of being so strong, where other people would crack and walk away and say, the hell with this. It's a great quality, but it's a quality that is good in some respects, but can trap you. So evaluating where, when things aren't bad and you're strong enough to stay, but you really shouldn't. And so that's what Spirit would have you evaluate this month, is, you know, the way of like, you know, deciding for others. Sometimes you're strong enough to like put up with, you know, put somebody else's feelings first. And you're strong enough to be in a level of emotional deprivation, and Spirit's like, I want you to evaluate the way that works, because that's not, Spirit wants so much more for you. And in terms of like what Spirit would have you let go, let's take it out. Spirit would have you, let's scoot this over. There's a sense in which, and this brings me back to the theme of the month, which is like, honor that inner knowing, honor that voice in your heart. Listening to the voice of intuition loud and clear, the voice, like allowing your heart chakra to be open and allowing yourself to be in a receptive space, listening to your heart, that it's leading to, again, to a path that you don't know is there yet, but that path is a beautiful path where there's such a gift of love. And so Spirit wants you to let go of overthinking whether or not, and this is, for some people this is a person, and for some people this is a pattern, but Spirit wants you to like allow yourself to really, like, trusting yourself is so key. Learning how to trust yourself is so key. Like, March is the month of trusting yourself above all others and trusting your thinking above all others. So Spirit wants for you to let go of like this inner conflict where you end up with a ton of anxiety because you're not really being honest with yourself. So this reading sounds harsh, but it's actually kind of beautiful, because, you know, Spirit just wants you to stop thinking about like this inner conflict. There's a lot of inner conflict, and there's just a lot of conflict around, you know, for some of you it's like someone who you have known for a long time is a drain in your life, and somebody who's not fair and not honest, and being able to like listen to your inner voice that there's a new direction for you to go. Anxiety, I'm feeling this is like really high anxiety. Anxiety is often two things like in sort of like the desire to stay and the desire to go in the same place, like existing, both of those things existing inside of you will cause tremendous anxiety. So that's sort of what I'm seeing. And so Spirit would say, there's a voice that is saying, you know, push it all down, keep things the way that they are. You know that there's been betrayal, but again, the Leo strength that you can push through because of you're just strong that way, and you can tell yourself that the hurt wasn't that much and it's okay and you can handle it. But that just causes tremendous anxiety in your life. And so Spirit wants you to let go of this energy here. Let go of a person, place, or thing that has been taking advantage and taking and not giving back. And because you're so strong, you've been giving and giving and giving and giving, and really not, and saying, well, you know, like this person needs me, on and on and on. But Spirit, actually, there's a sense in which if that's an individual and or even a job, Spirit's saying this month of March, really tune into yourself, because as you're tuning into yourself and that new path opens, let go of this. Let go of this energy. And that's what Spirit would have you let go of. Spirit would have you let go of something that is just draining you. Taking and not and really not contributing back in a way that is edifying, and it's causing you a ton of anxiety. So Spirit says, let that individual or job, you know, as you're in your own space and in your heart space, and that new path becomes clear to you, take it and let go of what is not related to that new path. In terms of actions that Spirit wants you to take, on the bottom of this deck, Spirit wants you to free yourself from your own, like from a level of deprivation. And this keeps, like the way that this keeps speaking to me and the way that I keep hearing this and the way that this is coming through, there's a feeling of you have like this taking, draining, not giving back, not appreciating, like not even being honest, this energy that you're emotionally distanced from but committed to the situation related to it. Let me just think for a second. It's almost like you feel like it's like an obligation. It almost feels like an obligation or a commitment, but it's draining, and and Spirit's saying it's leaving you so unbelievably depleted. And as strong as you are, it is depleting you of of having a vitality in life. And so in terms of what, you know, Spirit wants you to grow this month of March, Spirit wants you to begin growing, planting a new seed, starting over in a sense. Like as that new path opens up for you, taking that first step, that second step, that third step in this new direction, planting the inspiration that comes of stepping away from orbiting around being the strong one for others, and step into a place of, you know, stepping onto your own path with your own. There's going to be creativity and intuition, and it's going to lead you on a path that is going to be working with great people. And so there's a sense in which, you know, you do have to say goodbye to, like, let go of stuff that it's hard for you to let go of. It is not easy for you to let go of whatever isn't aligning with your true self and your heart's truth. What Spirit is saying about growth this month of March is that this walking in a new direction, this taking a new direction, it is going to be difficult. Like it's going to keep you up at night. It's something that is going to be a little bit scary. Because it's almost like I'm hearing the phrase, the devil I know is better than the devil I don't know. There's what spirit, the way in which spirit would have you grow is in looking at the things that aren't serving you, the people that aren't serving you, the activities that are taking and draining from you, disingenuous, shallow. Like, look at these relationships. And the growth of March is, even though it's going to be like super, like, you know, up all night, anxious, not feeling good about it, because it's attachments. There are attachments to things that are not good for you. But the growth of this month is that even though that there's a level of anxiety about all of this, and we see the anxiety over here too, even though there's a level of anxiety over, like, you know, shedding that which is blocking you from being able to expand and be like in alignment with your true self, the growth here is really allowing yourself to feel the things that you need to feel, and allowing yourself to step into, and allowing yourself to like let go of the stuff that is shallow and inconsistent, and just know that you are enough, and that there is, and the good that is coming to you, that is in alignment with your true self, the path that's being created for that. It's not really going to include the shallow and the manipulative and the taking. It's going to have, this is going to be a new way in the world, and so it's going to be a new kind of group of people. And that doesn't mean you're going to lose all your friends or anything like that. You know exactly who the few or the job or like what it is, but there's some tweaking in March that like really entails you just breaking away from some of the toxic stuff and being given a totally new, like, beautiful beginning that feeds you, that makes you feel like you're like, that rewards you, reward systems. Spirit is saying you need rewards. Life can't be without rewards. And so in terms of like actions that like Spirit would have you take, this is, so on the bottom of the deck on in terms of actions that Spirit would have you take, the first and foremost, your emotional intelligence is awesome. Trusting yourself, like I can't say that loud enough for the month of March for a Leo. Trusting yourself this month is going to be everything. There is Spirit saying for you, there is an equal. There is someone who gives as much as they take. There's someone who you look at them, they look at you, you see each other, you're able to see each other. You don't have to change any part of yourself to meet their comfort zone. This is a person who, this is an energy that is a match to you, a positive, nourishing match to you. It's a solid energy, it's a grounded energy. This in the upright is coming in, you know, real slow and steady, and I'm just seeing this as being a really grounded energy coming in at a pace that isn't overwhelming for you. And Spirit is also saying, living in your head, you know, you're always learning, and you've given a lot to your mind. You've given a lot to your mind, you've given a lot to try, you know, to working towards taking care of your body. There's a lot that you have given yourself, but Spirit wants you to step into the heart space. The action that Spirit wants you to take this month of March is to step into your heart space, step into your heart's intelligence, so that you can be receptive for this equal energy, this equal to your talents and beauty and worth, that's coming in at a pace that's manageable, and to move out of a space of relying too heavily on things that are just being detached from your heart, relying on all the other ways of coping that have that heart chakra closed. This is a month that the action is to open that heart chakra. And so we're going to pull, let's see, well, what would Spirit have? What would Spirit have be your goal for this month for Leo? What is a goal for the month of March for Leo? This is cool. Well, the goal for the month of March for you is to honor your strength, to honor everything that you've carried all these years, and to understand that you are a strong, amazing human being who, yes, you are strong enough to carry the weight of 10 people. You're strong enough to carry the weight of 9 people, 10 people. You're strong enough to carry the weight of others' problems, the weight of work. You're strong enough for all of that. But Spirit is giving you like a new vitality, a passionate new idea, a path that you can be passionate about. Spirit is really coming in, like a renewed vitality, growth, a feeling of being alive, all of that energy that you put into others being put into you. And that is just this beautiful explosion of inspiration that is related to the path that's opening up, where there's a world of new. And the goal of this month is to really be able to embrace that there is a whole new world. You are moving into a whole new world. It doesn't mean you're going to lose the people that are in this current life that you really care about, that are healthy and great for you. What's meant for you and what's good for you, for your highest self, is always for you. But this is a whole new situation for you. And so the goal of the month, because this is going to be tumultuous, is to really just, again, tap into that heart space, open that heart chakra, listen to what the heart is telling you, let that be louder than all the fears. And understand that in doing that, and in taking the knowledge of the heart to heart and taking action on it, that you're really, that this whole new path that you weren't even aware of, where there's this cup of love, where there's this from this beautiful bowl, like cup of love from the divine, of self-love, like something that's never going to leave you. Understanding that, in embracing this whole new world that March is ushering in, it's going to be about feeling alive again, passionate growth, inspiration, a sense of being like shining and feeling great, so that's what Spirit really wants to like drill home, to bring to the really let sink. What Spirit wants you to really let sink is that all this change that's happening, and some of the stuff that you're letting go of that wasn't serving you, it is painful, because there's attachments. That March is bringing in some of that change, but what March has to offer is 1,000 times. I can't even begin to express what March has to offer is so much bigger and more beautiful and more expansive and more in line with your true self and your higher self than anything you might be losing. So the month of March comes with a lot of gifts, but it requires letting go of some of the things that have just been draining you. And that letting go is an act of being able to forgive yourself for staying in situations that you were so strong you were able to stay in, but they really hurt you. And it's also about forgiving others, because forgiveness is tough, and forgiveness is almost a daily activity sometimes. But what it is it's not allowing the poison of someone else's exploitation or cruelty or misunderstanding be ingested by you. It's not letting that become a part of you. It's basically looking at this other person and being able to say, you are the way you are because you are you, and your life is your own punishment, and my life is my beautiful life to live, and I don't have to hold on to this, and I'm gonna let go and forgive you and clear you. from my system, because Spirit is bringing in this whole new beginning for you. March is the beginning. It's the beginning of a whole new world that is just so much more, it's open and expansive. And, you know, like where you were sort of like constrained in a role, in a job, in a relationship, Spirit is having you like really evaluate that, really pour into yourself, like healing, self-protection, forgive the stuff that needs to be forgiven so that you can be free of it, because there is such a cool new beginning that there's just, it's in alignment with your true self. So we're just gonna get one more card of advice from Spirit before we close. But this is a beautiful change for you. I mean, I feel so good about it. Changes sometimes work, but you need it. That's what Spirit is saying. Spirit is saying you need this. You really, really need this. And so it's a huge blessing. So you have what you seek is seeking you. And that just really speaks to me of, where is it? Where are you, Two of Cups? There is a card somewhere. This is so speaking to me of that. Look at this mess I'm making. My cards, forgive me. What you seek is seeking you. And so as you tune into your heart space, as you really see the true you and allow yourself to come into that alignment with that higher self that's really you, and step out of that box that's like, you know, been mired with other people, what you seek is seeking you, and it'll come in. I mean, that's like this March is where all of this stuff is coming in. And so let go of expectations, because, you know, it was really clear in the beginning of the reading, this path that is opening up, and this gift, you know, of self-love and new beginnings. This is not something that you see yet. This is something that you see in March. And so if you're sort of like expecting it to like revolve around a certain thing, Spirit's like, no, this is a surprising awesomeness. This is a surprising great thing. This is a surprising good path. So don't try to let the expectations of how you expect it all to unfold, like the way in which you expect things to happen, like there are going to be things in March that happen for you. Like, you know, there's, you know, happen to you, but they happen for you. And then there are things in March where you are just going to see things clearly and act on your own behalf. But the change is definitely coming. And to the extent that you're not holding on to too many expectations of the way you want things to like roll out, it'll just be so much easier for you. And that, Leo, is your reading for the month of March. I hope that helped, and I'll see you next month.